WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting often rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from England, not Scotland, England, Cotswolds Distillery Reserve. This is part of the core range. So this is Whiskybase number 195889. This is a small batch release, which means it says here on the label 5,000 bottles. And they use a total of 70% first fill ex-Bourbon barrels and 30% here from STR ex-red wine. 50%, now over here in Germany, I'm paying about $59.90 for this. You do get a little bit cheaper over there in the UK. The Whiskey Exchange has it at the moment for £48, which is a good buy, if it's good. That's our question of the day. All right, so very, very nice. Now, the very first thing we have to talk about is, yes, it's an 80-20 ratio. All right, 80% first fill bourbon casks, 20% STR casks. The first thing we should talk about is their normal signature single malt. Now, that actually has that marriage here of the 70% STR and the 30% first fill bourbon. STR, shaved, toasted, recharred. Dr. Jim Swan basically invented this, and all the new distilleries that he helped to create and to consult and to build together with these new owners, they are all using STR casks. So if you see an STR cask, you know it's going to be Dr. Jim Swan. If it's a new era of casks, Neoc, that's from, for example, Clonakilty uses those in Ireland. Apparently, they were not part of the Dr. Jim Swan team, and so the STR seems to be a little bit trademarked. So other people are using other things. Now, the cheaper version, we're talking almost 15 euros cheaper of the signature single malt, only has 46%. Over here, we are talking about 50%. All right, so what am I going to compare it to? I almost always compare something to each other. And I have something from Lindor's. This is $59.90. This is $44.90. So 15 euros less. Why am I pulling this out? Well, Dr. Jim Swan helped there as well. So how do we know Dr. Jim Swan helped at a distillery? First of all, we hear the word STR casks. The second thing we hear is then double yeast. Two types of yeast. So we have here complementary yeast. Here we have Anchor and the fermentis yeast. And they ensure the good yields, and they ensure an excellent fruity flavor because you have those esters in there. So the interesting thing about this one is, at Cotswolds, is they actually have a 100% locally grown barley, and they take it over then to Warminster, to one of the oldest malting facilities of England. And they hand turn it. They do everything as the old-fashioned people do it. I'm not really a fan of that old floor malting thing, but hey, if you think that's more romantic, go for it. I think the more modern computer-controlled malting actually creates a much, much better result. Personal opinion, you can have a different one. All right, so... And they also have their own village water supply. They filter it, they soften it, they demineralize it. Reverse osmosis, basically. So when they distill, they take it down from the still at a very slow process, and they don't go very much in the tails. They cut a little bit earlier, and they have a very nice, clean heart here. And then they're about 80% after they do that. Original pot stills here. And then they fill it up at 63.5%, just like everyone else in basically in the Scotch industry does in premium first fill bourbon barrels and STR. So they just let it rest. Now, what I'm missing here is an age statement. I've been talking about Cotswolds Distillery now for 3 years at least, if not 4. They could have an age statement, even if it's like the Ardbeg Whiskey 5. Why not put a 5 on there? Why not put the vintage on there? Hey, we have something here from 2000 and, what can we say, 18, yeah? So that'd be great. Vintage 2018, wonderful. But no, it's another no age statement. Now, Lindor's Abbey over here this was the inaugural release. So this is not just STR, this is red wine, this is sherry, and this is then here first fill bourbon casks. And I thoroughly like this as well. Also here, locally grown barley, everything done right. I must admit, I really enjoy this bottle. Hopefully I'll be able to continue using a bottle like this, even during our supply chain management, our supply chain crisis at the moment. This bottle is very nice, but I'm not sure if I like it. It looks like something my grandmother would have bought back then, about in the 1940s. It's a little bit retro, a little bit old, a little bit nostalgic. I'm not a big fan of this copper brown type of moment here. Now, also the nice little here, salute to Johnny Walker. A little bit of that angle going on there. You can do it. Some people like it. I'm not a fan, nor am I a foe of that. But hey, whatever. All right, so let's try these two whiskeys. Now, the 50% is nice. So do I see on the bottle anywhere the nice little words? Yes, I do. Natural color and non-chilled filtered. Bam, that just pops out, and I can see this immediately. So hopefully you can see it as well. Very, very, very good. So well done there, Cotswolds. Not the box is the contract, the label, and the bottle is the contract. And so it's a small batch. It's 5,000. It's 50% alcohol by volume, and it's Cotswolds Reserve. All right, so if I nose this, the very first thing that comes to mind is, where's the smell? It's a tiny little bit hidden. It's a tiny little bit reserved. Oh, Cotswolds Reserved. Okay. So there is some malt fruitiness in there. And I'm picking up a little bit of wood and a little bit of barrel char. What is barrel char? Imagine you have a popsicle stick. Did you ever play with popsicle sticks as a child? I apparently did. I talk about them a lot. I don't know if I ate that many popsicles. I remember the plastic things that you'd actually put in the freezer and just roll up like this, those ice popsicle, those icy things. That's what my grandmother always had. But a real popsicle, the popsicle stick. I think I built things out of them sometimes, and I had a lot left over. I don't know. But what I remember doing once is just having one, and it was a candle, and I might be a little bit maniac here. And I just put it in, and I started toasting my popsicle stick. And of course, one time I went a little bit too close to the flame, and then the popsicle stick turned black. It didn't catch on fire, but it was blackened. And I remember this smell, that blackened wood. And that's what I'm getting here. All right, so maybe you can understand what I'm talking about. Over here, much fruitier, much more of this is either a whole wheat pancake with cream and cherries on it, or it's like a vanilla custard with cream cherries on it. I like this. Lindor's, I really love their inaugural release. Now, I have had the bourbon that they put out there. Did not like that. Now, there's a sherry only, there's a bourbon only, there's a distillery only. Lindor Abbey is doing a lot of things now. Okay, very, very good. Now, Cotswolds, let's try it, 50%. Unusual they picked 50%. Macrené with Bruichladdich, with Waterford, and so on, always went 50%. Most other distilleries went with 46. Some went with 48, but they bumped it up to 50. So I'm going to say thank you for that. Cheers. Mm-hmm. Mm. 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 I do not like that finish. There's a woody bitterness. There's an alcohol bite. It was like, oh, this is okay. We have a little bit of the moldy sweetness. We have a little bit of the fruitiness. You have the STR casks. And it was like, wait, those casks are a little bit stronger. Oh no, the alcohol's kicking in. Oh no, the casks are kicking in. There has for me personally, an aftertaste that I do not enjoy. I'm sorry. It's like having cranberry juice diluted so far down that you can barely detect it. That's the amount of fruitiness in here. That's more than you bear. You can detect it, but it's just faint. A diluted cranberry juice. That's how I receive, how I interpret what I'm tasting here for the SDR casks. I guess that's just barrel char I'm getting. I guess some of those shaved, toasted and recharred SDRs really gave this whiskey some of that bite in there. And also the first fill bourbon barrels must have had a little bit of char left in them as well. So the alcohol is not the problem, and yet I'm still going to dilute this down a tiny little bit. Going to bring it down to about 45, 46%. On the nose, I get a tiny little bit of that lactic acid, a little bit of that, like a yogurt type of sourness. Yeah, leave a yogurt too long, and then a little bit of that milk. But there is that nice, fruity, vanilla maltiness on top of it. The nose, acceptable. But the taste, it's just like, I don't like it. It's got that bitterness. It's got that wood. It's like it's tart almost. It's like concentrated cherry tartness. It's like a bitter cherry moment. And that wood, it tickles my tongue a little bit. It's a little bit sparkling moment there. The alcohol is not great. The alcohol it feels just young. This feels like a young whiskey that was over oaked. How can you do that? I don't know. I guess anyone can do anything if they really put their minds to it. This is going to be a C minus D plus plus whiskey for me. Once again, my rating system: A, why haven't you bought it? B, buy it. So A is wow. If you can find it anywhere, why haven't you done so? B, buy it. C, you can buy it if you want. D, you don't need to buy it. And F, why was the stuff even made? So this is not one of those things where you have to worry about why was it even made. It's going to find people that like it. It's definitely just not my wheelhouse. That woodiness, that barrel char, that faint tartness of that of the cranberry juice. And I love cranberry juice. I drink it a lot, but not here. Not my thing to do. Now, just as a brief comparison, the Lindor's Abbey. This is a C to C plus whiskey. Not anything more, not anything less. All right. But when I taste it in comparison, there's this explosion of flavor, of goodness. There's the vanilla pudding custard sweetness. There's that cherry moment of richness. I really, really like this whiskey. I like this whiskey normally, but in comparison to this really just complements this and pushes this in a whole nother league. Nice. Thank you, Lindor's Abbey. If you have not tried the inaugural release, go out, find a bottle, find a shop, take a pour, and find out for yourself if it's good as I think it is. It's a 4.5, 5-year product, all right? Very, 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 very nice stuff here. All right, so question of the day. Number 1, what is your favorite product from Cotswolds? Mine is going to be probably this one, the Founder's Choice. I love this bottle. I'm going to compare it to something else in a moment here. Second question, what is your favorite lowland whiskey? I'm going to have to go probably with Annandale at the moment. I just love Annandale. I do like Lindor Abbeys, but I like Annandale even more. And the last question, if you can't answer those two, is which of the new distilleries that have opened the last 10 years do you prefer? Even that is something you might be able to answer. I was talking with someone the other day. It's like, Eden Mill, where's the next bottle? Where's the next bottle? And it's like, they're producing gin. They just got their construction permit to actually build something. Now they're actually going through all that thing. It's going to take a while before we ever see any real whiskey from Eden Mills again. Oh, I thought there was such promise. Yes, but we have to wait. And that's what's happening now with a lot of the new distilleries. Kingsbarn's got some good stuff out there. Lindor's Abbey's has some interesting stuff. Those are all a lot of new distilleries out there that have some very fascinating stuff. Atnamochen, Nickneen, and you can name the rest yourself. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for liking and telling others about this crazy guy over here in Germany tasting whiskey you might not ever see. Who knows? Don't forget to share and tell others. Bye-bye.